What's up, everybody? This is Nick from EdTech, the podcast. And in this video, I'm going to give you 3 of my favorite EdTech tools for math and science teachers, starting with one called Fluke, found at flukeedu.com. Math and science teachers have had a more difficult time than others when it comes to digitizing their resources just because of how fast and easy it is to write out calculations and computational work on a piece of paper, but putting it into a Google Doc or a Word doc is much more challenging. But Fluke sort of bridges that gap for you. The way it works is when students have access to Fluke in your classroom, they have a cell phone app where they can simply take a picture of work that they have handwritten, and the teacher can view that handwritten work while very quickly and easily annotating it and adding comments. You can even see here, there's a prior comment bank where you can sort of drag and drop your comments at different areas of this student's work. This is all happening in real time, so if your students are viewing their submitted work, they can see your comments as they're happening, much like in a shared Google Doc. You can even chat back and forth about any issues the students are still having on that particular calculation. You can even enable a peer-to-peer feature where the students can help each other out in the same manner. Fluke is a really amazing tool. Next up, we've got one of my favorite extensions called Equatio, and this has been around for a while. If you're a listener to EdTech, the podcast, you've probably heard me mention it, but it's just too good not to keep sharing, and they keep innovating as well. Equatio is going to allow your students to very quickly and easily add professional level math and calculations into a Google Doc. A Google Doc does have, you go to insert an equation, there is an equation editor, but there's a learning curve to this, and it's a learning curve that students don't always want to undertake. But Equatio makes it super easy. When you click the extension, it's going to open up this little menu on the bottom left-hand corner. There is a typical equation editor where you can type in equations yourself, but again, that's the same thing as the Google Doc equation editor. It takes a little bit of learning. And there's other tools like a graph editor, which is fine, but here's some of my favorites. Handwriting recognition. That means I can write out with my mouse or my trackpad, or if your students have a touch screen, they can just handwrite directly in this space, and it automatically converts that to the math equation version, and it inserts it as a picture file. My personal favorite is speech input, where if you activate your microphone with this little red button here, you can simply speak out the math you want it to type. A squared plus B squared equals C squared, and insert that instead. That's probably the fastest one and is usually what I show my students. There's also a mobile version where they can use their cell phone's camera to take a picture of handwritten work, or a screenshot reader that will do the same thing from calculations that are written out on the screen, as well as some STEM tools and another math space feature. Equatio is really great and an excellent time saver to tell your students. Lastly, we've got Wolfram Alpha. This is a website, kind of like a search engine, but it does so much more, specifically related to different computations in math, science, and even society, culture, and everyday life. There's too much to cover here in this very quick video, but with wolframalpha.com, you can do things like plot various equations on a graph very quickly and easily, or in the science world, you can use it to compute centripetal acceleration. There's just tons of really amazing tools that could be very powerful learning aids as your students are grappling with these skills. That wraps it up for this video. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to check out EdTech anywhere you listen to podcasts.